You know, Uncle Doug. One of the few things one can do during this pandemic here is
it's time for masturbation talk on the How to Heretic.
It's time for rubbing one out. Is that for sure? If you just aren't too sad to do it most days, like I don't know, someone I could name. But the other thing you can do is you can use the internet to peruse any sort of merchandise you might like.
Like
It's
lotion or tissues.
Okay, Doug, I guess this is where we're going.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. So, Dan, speaking of online masturbation.
Yeah. there is plenty of that. Online is useful for lots of things involving that. But yeah, I suppose you're right, Uncle Mark, that there is such a thing as retail therapy. Which I know some people who have engaged in plenty of that during this pandemic. But there's also there's retail shopping out there that is, I would say, from my perspective, less therapeutic. And I wanted to delve into some of that. So, every so often, I get a little glimpse into the world of hardcore American Christianity. With all the stuff that I look at on this show and on Thank God I'm an Atheist, the advertising algorithms are pretty crazed when it comes to me. So sometimes some really baffling things come my way. Matter of fact, just this week, Facebook popped up an ad asking me if I wanted or if I had what it took to become a Catholic priest. So, as it turns out,
how did you answer?
I do not.
I was going to say.
No. Yep, that's a big negative. It's funny because I posted it onto Facebook and somebody was like, "You do know that priests are celibate, right?" And I was like, "I know that they're supposed to be celibate."
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Anywho, I've also seen ads for things like coffins made by Trappist monks and all sorts of exciting opportunities to support good missionary work around the world. Hooray! And then there are the wacky things that people post online. I don't remember where I saw it. Possibly the Unofficial Heretic Hangout on Facebook. I'm not sure. But I have to admit that I was entirely enthralled by the porcelain figurines. I think they may have been Christmas tree ornaments of a mer couple. In this case, it was a pregnant mermaid and a merman holding a baby. Apparently, mer gestation is very quick.
When you said myrrh people, I thought you meant like frankincense and myrrh. I'm like, what's a myrrh couple?
Oh, no. Like a mermaid and a merman.
Fish people.
Fish people,
Yeah.
half fishes.
Fish Americans.
Like I say,
Yeah.
she was pregnant, he was holding a baby, and both of them were wearing necklaces with crosses on them. Because apparently they were Christian sea creatures. So
It must have that thing.
The man also had a belt holding up his fin, which I thought was a nice touch. Made him seem so clean cut. Anyway, with all that in mind, today I decided that I was going to dive as deep as I could tolerate into the world of Christian products. Now, I'm an oddly curious person, so I've been to a few Christian stores in my day. So it's not like I'm unaware of what's out there. It's actually, it's funny. There was one of the Christian stores that used to be here in Salt Lake that doesn't exist anymore. They had like a little acrylic box and a pad of little slips that you could fill out that were prayer requests.
Uh-huh.
And every time I went in there, which was maybe 3 times, I would fill out a few prayer requests. Now, if you're going to do this, kids at home, I recommend not going vulgar or insulting. It's just so crass. Keep it sincere. It's especially good if you can start out innocent and then sneak something in. Like, for instance, one of mine was something along the lines of, "Please pray for my grandmother who fell and broke her hip. She can't get around very well, so we got her a wheelchair, but her wife isn't strong enough to help her get out of it." Or something like, "Please pray for my son. He's left the church and he's so much happier now, and I just don't know what to do. He seems so content and at peace, and I'm worried he'll never come back. He says it's like a huge weight has been lifted from him." That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's hit the internet and see what products await, shall we? The first thing you're going to notice when you start entering the Christian search terms is wall-to-wall writing. T-shirts, hats, framed sayings listed as, quote, art, festooned with words like blessed and give it to God and faith over fear. Never just one font, mind you. Sometimes there are multiple fonts within the same word, so it's a fontastic sort of adventure. And, of course, there are crosses everywhere. Once you get over the shock of bad design that you'll be sort of assaulted with, you can start to hone your search skills. Now, I dove into Etsy first, looking for especially funny, shocking, strange, or oblivious things. The first thing that struck me in the oblivious category was a framed image. It said, "He is risen, hung delightfully over a bed." Nice. Then I noticed a T-shirt that didn't say Jesus. It said Yeshua and had Hebrew on it. This struck me as interesting because it both acknowledged the actual name of their Savior, which they've been saying wrong this whole time, and because it felt like it was part of the new-ish trend to blur the lines between Christianity and Judaism. This is even more overt on the design that just says Shalom in both English and Hebrew. Unless you think that a Jewish product just happened to pop up on my Christian search, I will read you the product description, which seems to just be a bunch of keywords. Shalom, peace, Christian, Hebrew, words, designs, Yeshua, Jesus, Christ, God, Christianity, Christian store. That is for a thing that just says shalom.
Oh my God.
More on that later, by the way. Put a pin in that. For the low price of just $79 or 4 payments of $19.75, you can have the Christ pen. This handcrafted ballpoint has a middle section that is made of olive wood imported from Jerusalem, inlaid with a bloodwood cross. Get it? Blood? That's symbolism right there for how Jesus was murdered on a cross. You get it? And it comes with an old-timey looking certificate, which is, of course, laminated, explaining what everything on the pen means. It's all very meaningful. So enjoy your ugly pen, guys. Then there are the clever reworkings of familiar logos, like the Christ is King shirt, but it's made to look like the Chick-fil-A logo.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I mean, Chick-fil-A, they make a big deal about being Christian. I guess that makes some kind of sense.
I feel like that's a fairly lateral move.
But then there's the FedEx logo, except they've removed the Fed part and turned the X part into Exodus. And underneath that it says, delivered, loved, healed. A little more of a stretch, but, delivered makes sense for FedEx. Might have been smart to just stop at delivered. You don't need to add any words after that.
I don't know. I mean, does a delivery service that takes 40 years, is that appealing?
Right? Yeah. Do you really want to associate that with your God?
Just tracking that package day after day. Good Lord.
Right.
Where is it?
Yeah, truly.
Still in Gaza.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, a few steps more confusing is a shirt that has the Nintendo logo, except it says Nazareth. Now, you might think that they'd play with the old Nintendo slogan, "Now you're playing with power," right? But no. Underneath Nazareth, it says Home of the King, which has nothing to do with Nintendo as far as I can see. So 0 stars from me.
Do Christians not get sued often enough? Is that what I'm taking from this?
Right?
Just using other people's logos at will.
And isn't there a king at the end of Mario Brothers, or am I out of?
There's a princess.
Right. Therefore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows?
There you go.
I'm sure
A
there's
lot of our
some
listeners know.
There's some really good logic behind all of this, I'm sure.
Yeah, they've worked really, really hard on all these things. I think we'll discover that the theme of most of this is nobody has put any thought into any of this.
Right.
But But all of this that we've talked about so far has mainly been from just individual sellers. So I want to go and see what we can find on a website specifically for Christian products. So I went to Swanson Christian Products, which requires that you have a pre-approved wholesale account to even order anything, which is funny because there's plenty of non-bulk products, but whatever. Poking around on their site, there was a lot of boring stuff, but I found a few things that tickled or confused me. I really liked the Faith, quote, sports balls. Yes, these 4-inch in diameter soft cloth balls were perfect for inspiring faith. Too lightweight to be hacky sacks or baseballs or even decent juggling balls, these little guys are good for exactly 0 sports. But they do say faith on them, so sport balls.
What?
Also,
like who's in the market for that? Like,
right?
there it is.
You know who it is? It's grandparents whose grandkids are about to very much dislike them.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Here you go,
Hey,
kids.
you can
Sports
play
balls.
with the sport balls. Oh, my God. Also in the activities section were the thou shalt not cheat playing cards. Isn't that nice? Cards that moralize at you as you play.
That's funny.
Oh, man, you say, I was totally going to cheat, and then I noticed what it says on the cards. It's especially interesting to me for 2 reasons. One, in spite of the thou shalt not wording, the Bible never, ever mentions cheating. And 2, many Christian sects decry playing cards as evil.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It was a deal for a minute in our house, Doug, but then it kind of went away. Yeah.
Yeah, she had something against face cards for some period of time, but
Well,
Mormons aren't super wiggy about face cards.
they can be.
They can be. Older ones, I think.
I did find an article about Mormons and face cards with an amazing quote from Joseph F. Smith, who was the 4th or 5th, 6th, something president of the Mormon
Prophet
Church.
in the 30s or 40s, I think.
Who said, like, the grumpiest thing I've ever heard, which was, while a simple game of cards in itself may be harmless, it is a fact that by immoderate repetition it ends in an infatuation for chance schemes, in habits of excess, in waste of precious time, in dulling and stupor of the mind, and in the complete destruction of religious feeling. There is the grave danger that lurks in persistent card playing, which begets the spirit of gambling, of speculation, and that awakens the dangerous desire to get something for nothing.
Yeah, not to mention
And it goes on.
Yeah.
My favorite part of the quote is, men and women of industrial, businesslike, and thoughtful habits care little for frivolous pastimes, for pleasures that are sought for their own sake.
What a grump.
Yeah.
What an awful human that must have been.
Yeah.
And why didn't he mention the pollution of our precious bodily fluids?
Yeah. He didn't bring up a really an ecclesiastical objection at all.
No.
Right.
It was just, I object to people having fun.
Right. Exactly. Also, our people should be too busy toiling to have any kind of fun.
Right.
Yeah.
On a Saturday afternoon.
Isn't there slave labor you could be doing right now? Okay. Well, if you like games but don't want the evil playing cards, you could play a version of Connect 4, which is the game where 2 players slide discs into a grid and trying to get 4 in a row. Only these are Christian Connect 4, so they're special. One of them is Noah's Ark themed, so, I guess it has animals and stuff. And you can imagine all of your friends drowning to death as you play. The other is David and Goliath, which is weird because that means one of the players has to be the bad guy and that Goliath must win sometimes, right?
Yeah, well, knowing what we know about King David, I'm not sure that there is a clear bad guy in that, or good guy in that scenario.
Right. Well, I mean, you're supposed to root for one of them, I think.
I'm going with the giant.
You're absolutely right about that. There's also, I found stumbling block wooden puzzles. They're just literally interesting little 3D wooden puzzles. What do they have to do with Jesus? shut up. That's what they have to do with Jesus. They're fun. So there you go. There's that. But that's all the fun and games. Some stuff is just for the clergy. Are you a pastor, but some of your congregants can't come into church, so you're not getting your cut of their Social Security check? Get the travel communion kits for the Eucharist on the go with optional gluten-free wafers. What if you need to bless someone? Try Oil of Joy Anointing Balms.
Ooh.
These naturally scented balms come in pomegranate, hyssop holy fire, balm of Gilead, lily of the valley. No, I mean, I guess that smells like lily. I don't know what balm of Gilead would smell like.
Probably just very potent BO.
Right, exactly. Frankincense and myrrh, and of course, my favorite, spikenard.
Yay! Our old friend Spikenard.
Spikenard.
Other products include the, quote, fashion conceal carry purse.
Oh, my God.
In ornate leather with metal cross to match your cross-embroidered boot-cut jeans.
Oh, no.
Not sure what the difference between a purse made specifically to conceal your gun and, purse is, but they certainly aren't going to tell me.
There is no difference, but one's $100 more.
Yeah, exactly. Remember that we're Christians, but we like appropriating Jewish stuff thing that we talked about earlier?
Yeah, that's a huge thing right now.
Why not buy a Jewish tallit? That's the striped fringed poncho that Jewish men wear under their clothes, with an emblem on it that has a menorah connected to a Star of David, connected to a Jesus fish on it.
Oh. Yeah, see that is the next step is hate crime.
Right?
Right.
I think we've actually stepped all the way to hate crime.
I think we're at the apparel department of hate crime.
Right. It's at least like strongly dislike crime. It's crazy offensive, and while we're at it, why not get a ladies' one for that anti-Semite woman in your life? They also have those brilliant little money tracts. These are the little pieces of paper made to look at a glance like they're a $5, $20, or $100 bill, but on closer inspection are actually just garbage with Jesus crap on it.
That shit is a hate crime. It is despicable.
It's super hateful. People can leave these lying around anywhere knowing that somebody will actually pick up the thing and look at it before throwing it away in disgust and annoyance. If you're a real asshole, you can leave one sticking out from under your plate at a restaurant so people think you tipped your server, and nobody knows what a shithead you are until you're well out of the building.
Yeah.
I point of order. I'm in the hospitality industry.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of our listeners need to be told this, but there is nothing that will make someone want to track you down in the parking lot and beat you to a pulp than leaving one of those things.
Oh,
These are people who are trying to pay their rent. You sons of bitches.
If you're in the United States of America now, I know that our European and other parts of the world listeners will. This is different, but if you're in the USA and you eat at a restaurant and you don't tip your server and you don't tip them well, we're talking 20%, none of this 15 stuff, you're not a good person.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, and it is what we have to work with, and it is one of the many things wrong with our country, but it's not in the top 10, so leave it to
Right. It's not in the top 10, but don't do that shit.
Don't do that shit. Finally, on that site, there is my favorite, which is a set of 6 "Have you prayed for your president today?" magnets. Inexplicably, these are on clearance at 80% off. Wonder why that would be.
What are they? A set of 6 what?
Magnets that all say, "Have you prayed for your president today?" Which I don't think they're praying for their president as much as they were before.
Yeah, probably that's probably slowed down for reasons nobody can really understand.
How could you even figure that
Yeah.
out? Anyway, next I went to a site called Family Christian. Scanning the various options, I immediately clicked on the fashion tab because duh. It was unfortunately a stunning disappointment. 3 burlap-looking tote bags with phrases like "happy, healthy, blessed" on them. 4 bits of very uninspiring jewelry, 1 Trust Jesus t-shirt, and a giving shawl. Now, what's a giving shawl? Well, it's a nubby textured, that's their words, nylon throw blanket that comes in a box with a bow on it. You know, so you can give it. I shit you not, there is a product video for this thing that feels exactly like a Mormon inspirational movie. Cloying piano music under a slideshow of still photos of two women sharing a very special moment as one of them gives the other a shawl.
I remember my first shawl.
Oh, who doesn't remember that moment? It's a special moment in everybody's life. It actually suggests that you hug your friend into their new shawl so that you'll really be able to connect over this beautiful taupe rectangle. Here's a quote from the product description. Each time it's worn, it will convey the special bond you share through friendship, prayer, and caring. On sale now
It's
for
a blanket.
$45.99. It's a fucking blanket.
Jesus.
But it's not even.
It's the
I
dumbest
don't.
thing.
The last thing I want when I'm trying to sleep is a nubby texture.
Well,
That's just
don't
me.
sleep in your shawl then.
Well,
So
I've got to do
fashion
some more
was-
shopping before your birthday then.
Right, exactly.
I think the only thing you can do in a shawl is drink your coffee with 2 hands as you watch the sunrise.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what shawls are for, obviously. Well, fashion was clearly a bust for me, so I bopped over to the gifts section, which is where I found baby's first pearl bracelet. Oh. What? Do you think it's somehow weird to give an infant an obvious choking hazard? Do you find it bizarre to put semi-precious jewelry on someone too young to know literally what anything is? Well, don't worry. This 4.5-inch stretch bracelet doesn't use real pearls. That would be weird and crazy. No, this has fine glass pearls with 1 pewter bead with a cross stamped into it. So perfect for a newborn.
So choke on that, youngin'.
Exactly.
That's right. Unless you think that I'm joking about the newborn business, well, the product description wants you to know that it's, quote, tiny enough to even wear home from the hospital.
Oh my God.
Unless you think that that weird suggestion isn't what they're seriously suggesting, the bracelet comes in a cute gift box with a beautifully written poem that suggests this tradition. I did not make any of this up. Here we go. On the day you were born, this bracelet was worn. On your wedding day, place it in your bride's bouquet.
Ooh.
Someone literally put ones of minutes into that.
I was about to say, like,
writing.
that's it.
That's. I was waiting for the big finish, but there wasn't one.
And Dan,
That's
I
it.
I literally thought you were going to say the product was infant's first pearl necklace, which is a
Which is-
sentence that requires me to now call Andrew Torres.
Yes, that's right.
I will show myself to HR at this point.
Don't look that up, Mom.
I literally
Anyway,
thought you were going to say that. I'm like, oh, please no.
It's not much better. I don't know. And here's the thing. I don't know if this pearl bracelet thing is a Southern or Midwest thing that I'm just not aware of. I may be insulting some of our listeners who think this is a beautiful idea, but honestly, don't put chokeable jewelry on your babies. Just don't. It's not cute.
Well, not the ones you like.
Right, especially not on their wrists.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The thing that's going to go directly into their mouth the
Exactly.
first thing they get. All right. How about a book? Of course, there are all manner of How to Love Your Invisible Daddy More books and 8,000 different Bibles that purport to be for different niches. What the fuck is the difference between the Woman's Study Bible and the Battlefield of the Mind Bible? They're still the same Bible, right? But anyway, there are other books too. I'll close us out with one that I've ordered for both of you and should be coming anytime now. It's called "It's Never Too Late. Make the next act of your life the best act of your life" by Kathy Lee Gifford. Now, this one it will help
Yes.
you find the inspiration to live out your dreams, Speak out for your beliefs and pursue what matters. And I thought I would, I'd just quote a little snippet from the book. This is Kathy Lee talking. Here we go. Certain moments in life can take on a rich significance in retrospect. Take, for instance, the time I was kicked out of the Brownies. No, I'm not kidding. I was actually kicked out of the Brownies. They insisted that I turn my beanie in. All because I had bought into the join the Brownies, see the world propaganda.
What?
If you don't want to keep reading after that, I don't know what to tell you.
They tore off her shoulder boards and broke her saber.
Anyway, obviously, I am just scratching the nubby textured glass pearl festooned surface of the world of Christian-oriented products. This literally is just the reputable stuff.
The reputable
I'm sure that
stuff.
there's an even spookier underbelly that I didn't even get to.
Black market.
Yeah, we're going to have to save that for another time, as I almost lost my life just looking at this stuff. So
There is a black market for Christian goods, and it's what the Bible Museum was buying.
That's right.
Stolen
That's right.
artifacts
It's
from
called Hobby
ISIS.
Lobby.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So, all right, well, everybody, get to shopping.
Or don't.
Enjoy yourself.
Use the How to Heretic discount code at checkout.
That's right.